Sup, you beautiful people? Hope you're having a fantastic Thursday. Let's just jump into it. Did I sound like him? Nailed it. Hey y'all, it's me, Gina, and welcome to my kitchen. Today, we have a very special YouTubers edition of Busy Baking, and as you can see, the YouTuber is Philip DeFranco. And if you don't know who Philip DeFranco is, I'm of course going to put his links down below, so go check him out. And you must be living under a YouTube rock because he's pretty popular, he's very funny, and if you want your news not biased, sorry Fox News and CNN, he's the guy you want to go to because he is very funny. He likes to get both sides to the story, and it's just a great show to watch. So you should definitely click down below and subscribe to DeFranco. So for today's episode, we're going to be making some brown butter bourbon chocolate chip cookies. I know that's a mouthful, but I came up with this because I love watching Philip DeFranco's interviews, especially his one with Jessica Negri. She's a 10. And he always has a drink in his hand when he does these interviews. So of course, we're going to be making some Jim Beam bourbon cookies for him today. So let's get ready to bake, y'all. It may not be quite as quick as normal, but you can bet it's going to be good. For today's cookies, what you're going to need is 2 1/4 cup of cake flour, and then 1 1/2 cup of regular flour. So make sure you have the cake flour and the regular flour. You're going to want 1 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda, 1 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, 1 teaspoon of salt, and then you're going to want 2 1/2 cups of brown butter. Brown butter is amazing. If you don't know how to do it, put your saucepan on the stove. Get you about 2 1/2 sticks of butter, put it on about medium heat, whisk it constantly. It's going to take a few minutes, it's going to start to boil. You're going to start seeing it turn about an amber color, and then it's going to get these amber flakes in the bottom, and it just gives it a really rich, dark flavor. I don't know, I was holding it up, I don't know if y'all can see those flakes or not, but it's going to give it a good flavor. So you want 2 1/2 sticks of butter that's browned. You want dark brown and light brown sugar, 1 cup of light brown sugar, 1/2 cup of dark brown sugar, and you want those packed. We're going to keep those together. You want 3/4 cup of granulated sugar, 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, 2 tablespoons of bourbon, or you can add scotch more if that's what you're into. And you want some chocolate chips. I chose mini chocolate chips because I just think it gives it a nice little flavor every once in a while, but you can do big chocolate chips, chocolate chunks, white chocolate if you want it. Just mix this up and make it your own. Now we're gonna get into it, y'all. So we're gonna get to baking. Oh, I forgot my 2 eggs. And we need 2 eggs at room temperature. I completely skipped over my eggs. So we need all of these ingredients. I've got my stand mixer today. This dough gets a little bit heavy. It's a lot to deal with, so you might want to use your stand mixer on this if you have one. Now we're gonna set this to the side, and what we're gonna do is we're just gonna take our big bowl and we're gonna dump our cake flour, our all-purpose flour, our salt, baking powder and baking soda, and our cinnamon. And we're going to whisk those together. So we're just going to mix these together. I'm just going to use a whisk just to get it good and mixed. You can use a spatula if that's what you want to do. So we're going to get that good and mixed together. We're going to set that off to the side for right now. So now what we're going to do is we're going to want to take our brown butter. Now after you make your brown butter, be sure you put it in the refrigerator because you want it cool to the touch before you start mixing. So just brown it, throw it in a bowl, put it in the refrigerator. Both of our sugars. And we're going to cut it on to mix. So I have my stand mixer here set up, if I can lock the bowl in there. And we just want to mix it up until it's good and creamy. So I don't know if y'all bake a lot, but when you cream your sugar and your butter, you just want to mix it up till it's kind of smooth and it's creamy. Alright, now we're going to put in our eggs. If you're using a hand mixer, you may want to do 1 egg at a time. But since we have our stand mixer, We're just gonna mix it all together. Now you wanna mix that together until it's good and smooth still, the eggs are incorporated. Okay, now once that started mixing up, we're gonna go ahead and put in there 2 teaspoons of vanilla. And just mix that up, kind of on low. And here comes the best part. Now we're gonna mix in our bourbon. And the bourbon just gives it an extra hint of flavor. That brown butter and that brown sugar caramelizes the outside, but whew, we get a little bit of extra flavor from this. Of course, you can always have a tablespoon yourself. But we're gonna mix in our 2 tablespoons. And then we're going to mix that together really good because we're fixing to add in our dry ingredients. Alright. So now what we're going to do is we're going to incorporate our dry ingredients into this mixture. Now you don't want to dump it all in because it is a lot. As I say that, I dump most of it in. So you can do it in maybe 2 or 3 parts, but just start off on low so that it incorporates and it doesn't send a cloud of flour everywhere like I just got all over the table. There was the cloud of flour. So now you just want to mix this until it's good and combined, all your flour's gone. See, it's getting kind of rough on my stand mixer, so it would be really rough on a hand mixer. Alright y'all. Now is one of the most fun parts. It's getting your chocolate chips in there. So I have about 10 ounces of chocolate chips, and they are mini chocolate chips. Like I said, any kind of chocolate chips about 10 ounces. I always end up with some extra at the bottom of the bowl, and I just take that as a treat for me. But you're just going to want to take a wooden spoon. This dough is thick because it is cookie dough, so you'll make sure you take a wooden spoon and you just mix it together really good. A spatula is not going to work, and unless it's a heavy-duty plastic spoon, that's not going to work either. So we're just going to want to spoon it together. This is what your dough is going to look like. So just make sure you mix it together really good. And now what we're going to do is we're going to pop this in the fridge for at least 3 hours. You can keep it overnight. You can also get this together, form it into a ball, wrap it up in some plastic wrap, and pop it in the freezer, and you can just pull it out when you're ready to cook some cookies. But I'm going to pop this in the freezer, and I'll see y'all in about 3 hours. Alright y'all, we are back. We've got our dough. It's been fully chilled. You may want to let it sit out just a minute because it can be a little bit hard. And we are ready to start baking our cookies. Now you can bake them however you normally bake cookies. I always use an air bake cookie sheet and I line it with a silicone liner. I don't have to spray it down. It very rarely burns. If you're prone to burning cookies, check these out because Silpat liners are awesome. I've got 3 things of Silpat liners on cookie sheets set up, 2 cooling racks in the back there so I can keep this process flowing and keep cookies going all the time. We want our oven preheated to 350 degrees, and you want to make your cookies about 1.5 tablespoons big. I feel like making big cookies, so I'm going to use my big cookie scoop, and I'm going to make mine a little bit bigger. Normally cook them about 10 to 12 minutes. What I do is make them in tall, big balls, start cooking them about halfway through. I go in and take my fork, I have a fork, take my fork and just smush them down all over and then finish baking them. You want them to turn light brown around the edges. You don't want to overcook them, and then when you bring them out, they will cook just a little bit longer while they're still hot on your cooling rack. Once they've cooled, transfer them into another cooling rack, let them cool completely, and then finish it up by eating them. That's the best part. So let's start getting our cookies ready. Oh, that's a big cookie. I don't want to do a cookie quite that big. Alright, so I'm rolling my cookie balls. And I make them just about like that. So a little squatty, like a little barrel. This recipe, if you do about 1.5 tablespoons for your cookie size, will make probably about 2 dozen cookies. You can make them smaller, you can make them bigger. But they are so yummy. Alright y'all, my cookies laid out. I'm gonna pop these in the oven, smush them down. When we finish, I'll bring them back out and show you. While we wait, I'm gonna go ahead and get my other two things ready, so I'll be back in a minute. Cut it out. Don't you remember that for a Full House from Joey? Woo! Alright, y'all. The cookies are ready. Can you see this yumminess? Mine made about 2.5 batches, and they are thick, yummy goodness. That smells a little bit like bourbon and brown sugar. Alright guys, that was our first YouTubers edition of Busy Baking with Philip DeFranco. Don't forget to hit that like button. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button, and you've just been filled in on a great new recipe. I love your faces, and I'll see you next Thursday. And don't forget to go down below and check out DeFranco. Stay sweet, y'all. Now, and now to eat a cookie. If I want a sausage. We're like a cookie monster. Oh, no.